What is going on, everybody? My name is Kieran Hannon, and today I'm reviewing the brand new Ninja Sex Party album, Cool Patrol. Cool Patrol is the sixth studio album by synth pop comedy rock duo Ninja Sex Party. It comes out after two cover albums, so it is the fourth original album by Ninja Sex Party and the sixth album overall. This album has been kind of anticipated, really, because it is obviously being the first bit of original material for Ninja Sex Party in so many years, and it is an album that has been in the works for quite a while, with the first single, the titular track Cool Patrol, having come out in 2016. Now, just a little bit of history for myself to kind of contextualize my opinions on the album. I haven't listened to much Ninja Sex Party before, other than one or two tracks, but it is an album I was actually going into looking forward to hearing because, well, I love comedy music a lot, and a band they are constantly likened to, Steel Panther, is actually, to be honest, one of the groups I find myself listening to more often than a lot of other groups. So I was expecting something quite similar to Steel Panther, at least thematically, with just these raunchy, over-the-top sex parody songs. And that's what I got, but it doesn't hit home in the same way. To be honest, the humor in a Steel Panther album is sort of lameish and corny and overplayed in the exact same way that it is here, but at least with Steel Panther we're getting these kind of parody and satire of an actual genre of music, which is like, hair metal was this subgenre of metal music that was so over the top, so overly sexual, and Steel Panther basically just doing that in 2018 and just turning it up a notch. Whereas Ninja Sex Party are kind of just doing their own thing and just really trying to hit the nail on the head way too hard. I feel like Ninja Sex Party are trying too hard to make the joke, and the jokes, when they don't land, just everything else falls flat around them. At least in a Steel Panther song, you have some fantastic musicians making some stellar music, so when the jokes aren't hitting home, which, to be honest, happens a lot on a Steel Panther record, the song itself doesn't have to fall apart. I don't want to say that Brian, who plays all of the instrumentation for the most part on this album, is a bad musician. There were moments in this where you hear some real talent, like the solo on Cool Patrol or a song similar to that. But for the most part, this album feels so overproduced, and everything that the instrumentation is doing feels so one note, and I just don't like Danny's voice at all. So it became pretty clear to me straight away this wasn't going to be a record for me. And I get that it's, synth music, it's meant to sound all sparkly and glittery, and there's meant to be things happening everywhere, but I just don't feel like it goes in enough directions to actually, hold anyone's interest for the runtime. I find most of the album just feels sameish and redundant by the end of the album, and the album is only 37 minutes and change. But I do feel like Ninja Sex Party is even less about the music and more about the comedy than an act like Tenacious D, Weird Al, or Steel Panther. Then the other criticism is just that the jokes very rarely, if ever, land. I do have to say that some songs like First Days have moments that got me, they have moments that made me laugh, and I could see why someone, especially someone younger, could go into this album and just find the whole thing hilarious. Humor is like so unbelievably subjective, and what's funny to me isn't going to be funny to anyone else, so I actually can't knock this record and say that you shouldn't listen to it. An album like this is something that you kind of just gotta form your own opinion. I say that, but you should form your own opinion on every album, but I feel like this is even more subjective than nearly any other record I've listened to. I found moments on the song First Date particularly funny, where Danny is having this little back and forth on himself about to take a woman on a first date, and he says, will we just play it conventional, play it safe, or will we claim a fucking life tonight? Another song that I found myself enjoying was Danny Don't You Know. This is another one of the singles from the album, and it honestly feels like probably the most thought out and probably overall the best packaged song on the album. It reads like a letter from Danny to himself when he was younger, going through all of these awkward changes, basically. When you're a puberty teen, you're a virgin, no one likes you, look, you're 6'2", no one's going to go near a 6'2" person at your age. And I do feel like Ninja Sex Party's core audience does seem to be a lot younger people, despite the raunchy kind of material. It's the material that really appeals to a younger audience. So I could see younger people actually listening to the song going, hey, these musicians I liked, they went through puberty and they're awkward like me, and actually getting something from that. So I have to applaud them for that. I especially do like, though, that it retains its comedic elements, and just as the song is building up and getting its most inspirational, the crowd starts chanting, hey, go Danny, and then he cries all the time, and that's just hilarious, just to think, just as he's, getting all of it together and he's really inspired, he just admits that he just spends all of his time crying, and I found that funny as well. I found myself laughing. But honestly, there are two highlights in 37 minutes of music that just didn't hit for me. The production is so one note, so overbearing. Danny's voice is just the same tone, the same key the whole way through the record. And I feel like while it doesn't sound bad to listen to, listening to the same thing for 37 minutes and any change is usually due to production just gets grating, and you just want the record to end by the end of the runtime. You can only spend so much time listening to people talking about killing and having sex before you're like, just give me anything else, and there is nothing else really that held my attention. There are songs like Cool Patrol then that are just so cringe and so hard to find funny, it's painful, and this is right at the start of the album. They go for every gag and joke they can think of that just appeals to childish humor. Every sentence is crammed in another joke of, grab a bird from the air and eat it whole so you can fly, and it has nothing to do with the rest of the song. He just randomly eats a bird and starts flying, and if you find that funny, fine, but God, I don't! So a bit where he just says you should slap a camel because it might be your only chance, and I think I'm getting across why I don't like the record, why I don't like the album. It's just random sentences that are so tacked on and lazy and thrown together, and it's just like, if someone laughs, they'll listen to our album and they'll listen to our music. We need to just hit them with one sentence and they'll laugh. But I listened to the whole thing, and I listened to it a couple of times, and while I found some of the songs funny the first or second time, my third listen, I was just like, oh God, never again. And thankfully, I never have to listen to it again. But that being said, if the comedy appeals to you and you like that look, just throw shit at the wall and see what sticks type of humor, then this could be the record for you. There are interesting moments, there is clearly good musicianship. Danny's voice isn't awful, it's just incredibly one note and gets grating towards the end. So for me, and being that this is my review and I have to score the album, I can't give this album any higher than a 3 out of 10. So, if any of you guys listened to Cool Patrol, if any of you guys are big fans of Ninja Sex Party, talk about it in the comments. Tell me what you thought of my review. Tell me what you thought of the album. Tell me what you think of Steel Panther, comedy rock, synthetic music in general. What do you guys want me to see? What do you guys want to see me review next? And subscribe if you want. Follow me on Twitter. If you have any recommendations, please leave them down. Any constructive criticism is always welcome. And other than that, I will see you in the next one.